Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth
Boltshot.
Wise?
Yes, we're so going there. Today we're going to be covering the most controversial weapon that has ever existed in the Halo series, the Boltshot. Now, anyone new to Halo or never touched Halo after Halo Reach, or just never touched Halo 4 in general, might be wondering, what do you mean controversial? What is controversial about the Boltshot? Most people see the Boltshot as it is in Halo 5, which is nothing more than just a shadow of its former self, which just looks like basically a smaller version of the Suppressor with burst fire rather than fully auto, which is in less ammo pretty much. That's pretty much what it looks like. But in Halo 4, this short-range god gun that pretty much gave the Halo 4 Magnum a run for its money because it would win on a 1v1 chance in close quarter fightings with this gun. It was just way too powerful. This was in Halo 4 when this gun, before pre-patched, could one-shot anyone as long as they could, as long as they had no overshield on and no boost settings on. And what made this such an annoyance and caused people to flood the forums with complaints to nerf or even remove it was the fact that this close range one-shot kill weapon has a secondary effect, which if you hold it would actually charge up and fire, and you could kill someone in one shot of this burst ability. And the fact of the matter that you could respawn with this weapon as your secondary. Yeah, imagine that. Halo 4 early days with this gun, with everyone and their mothers running around with this damn gun on the map carrying it, and it was barely ahead of the noob combo in terms of being a noobish weapon. Imagine that though, that this weapon was actually even more newbie to use than the noob combo. But yeah, I remember party chats where people got pretty sweaty every time they got killed by this thing, and I thought someone was gonna pop a blood vessel because it was just so frustrating. People were getting sick and tired of people just running around with Boltshot, and you could go on killing sprees with this thing, and it was just basically 2 times just OHK players and then reload 2 OHKs again, and just kept doing that over and over and over. It was basically a no skill weapon at that point that anyone could just use, and it was just used recklessly. So you could charge it up really, really fast and hold it down for really long, and if you were in a close enough distance, which actually had some pretty good range before it was pre-patched, you could get a one-hit kill on players. And yet you could do this twice before reloading. They ended up nerfing it a lot, but still didn't 100% fix this gun. They made the charge take a little bit longer, and the amount of time you could hold it down for was lessened as well, and also its range. But people still camped with this weapon. It was broken as all get out, and just didn't do well in the sandbox of weapon balances. It could take power weapons on like the shotgun and the scatter shot, and it made him look pretty much useless with that charge up quick time, and then you just needed one shot and you got him. Pretty much that basically made almost a scatter shot look like it had almost no purpose other than to bounce off the walls and hit your targets. The weapon was so despised by the Halo community so much because I remember the forums being flooded about how much they hated this weapon, to the point where 343 entirely changed how this weapon functioned in Halo 5. They removed that charge effect ability, that secondary, and instead made it so that the weapon had burst fire with small homing shot rounds being fired. It was nothing more than just a low-grade suppressor at that point. They basically neutered this weapon to the point that it had nothing uniquely amazing about it. Some people liked the change for the Boltshot, but others thought it was really bad and made it lose any of its uniqueness to it, and it should go back to a Halo 4 style instead, because now there's nothing interesting about this gun. And when you think about it, the only reason that this was so bad and was so OP was because the class system in Halo 4 that allowed this option to be able that you could choose this as a secondary, as a one-shot weapon you could run around the map with. We had similar weapons like the Mauler in Halo 3 that was kind of the same in how its functionality worked as a handheld shotgun, but if you dual wielded it, it was a one-hit kill weapon at close range. And every even one Mauler, as long as you did a shot and then a melee right afterwards, which I did a lot of times, or you can even do the vice versa of melee shot melee, whichever one you wanted to do. So if they make this Halo 4 version come back in Halo Infinite and treat it as a semi-power weapon like the plasma pistol on maps, just like the Mauler as well, it actually doesn't sound like it's actually going to be that bad of an overpowered weapon. I decided to hold a poll on how people felt about this, because back in the day this was so controversial. I don't even need to do a graph on that. You could just go to Halo 4 on the Waypoint forums, type in the word Boltshot, and you'll get flooded with the amount of hate that people had towards this weapon. I decided to see what the poll said about the Halo community, the idea of something like this, where people stood on this, what they should see for a Boltshot in Halo Infinite, what they would like to see Halo 4's version or Halo 5's version, or maybe a mix of it. And the idea kept, people like the idea of having a burst fire as normal primary shot, and then the charge up Halo 4 ability. And this would make the weapon go back to having a cool, unique, and even better version. Maybe even make the ammo count the same as Halo 5, but when you charge up a shot, it actually uses up to 8 to 12 shots, and instead either that or it does 2 or 3 shots out of it for the secondary, and you can get up to 8 bursts of 3-round burst fire for homing shots instead if you just do regular primary fire. If we had this, then just adjust the balance of the weapon accordingly to the sandbox, this would actually be something that I think the community would actually be okay with, and maybe even lead up with improvements to the suppressor, because seriously, I hate firing that weapon right off the bat where it's slow as dirt, and it's only good once you've actually started getting up to full speed, then it actually starts being useful. Yeah, I hope that by making some changes to the Boltshot, they can also make changes to the suppressor, make that thing a little bit more powerful when it fires right off the bat. But it's surprising to think how this weapon once was one of the major reasons players had such a big gripe with Halo 4's multiplayer, right next to everyone having plasma pistols to EMP every vehicle in the game, pretty much. But yet the community is actually open to the idea of bringing back somewhat of the Halo 4 version with some of the Halo 5 functionality, long as it's treated as a power weapon on the map and not something you can just spawn in by default at the start of a match. Just like with the plasma pistol that also got gripes for having a default secondary choice. And if it were to come to something like, say, Warzone, they just adjust the numbers accordingly. If they say it's really strong, they'll just up it that it's something you can't get, so you get to a higher tier or something. Whatever feels, balanced accordingly. But again, I think that would actually be a lot better than what we have now, where the two weapons, the suppressor and the Boltshot, they're not unique. They're not that great. They're exactly almost identical, other than one fires in burst mode, one fires full auto, and one has more ammo than the other, and they visually look different. That's basically about it. They have homing ability, and that's basically they really should go back to the old version, because it really was really nice. And again, a lot of the community seems to be actually open to the idea that we should actually go to this style rather than what they had in Halo 4 or Halo 5, because it has even more uniqueness and it's actually something cool. But yeah, that's just my opinion and others. But I find it really interesting that, this was once, the weapon that divided the Halo community, and it was almost as bad as armor lock. I don't know which was worse, if armor lock from Halo Reach was bad more, or Halo 4's Boltshot. But either way, they both were really disliked. So it's funny to see that people are actually open to the idea of bringing the kind of original version back with even more improvements to it. But yeah, it is pretty interesting that this was that weapon. But again, this is going to be a short video. I thought I was going to, this was going to be a longer controversy, but it really isn't actually. It was a controversy back then. It was definitely a controversy back then. People were demanding this game removed from the matchmaking entirely. It was just so bad. So now people are open to the idea of it because there's no class system, so you can't automatically spawn with this weapon by default. So I think it actually works pretty well. So I would have to agree with that seems pretty cool that they should actually try that instead for Halo Infinite and make those guns a little more unique. Anyways, that's just my opinion. Comment down below what your opinions are on the Boltshot, whether it should be returning to its former glory, just what it was in Halo 4, or even have the improvements of Halo 5 homing shot ability, or that it should have just stay with the Halo 5 version. Also, give this video a like, a sub, notifications if you want to check out more controversies. I have tons of them, so hit those notifications. If I ever do another one, you'll get notified of it. And if you decide you want to do any Patreon or any support for the controversy series, let me know. Just go to my Patreon page. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you all for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, and you all have a great day. Thanks.